Mike Yelling Crash.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, boy, it's important today. It's important every time we do a podcast. I want people to know, you know what, I've been sick and weak, but I am laser focused. Everything that is happening, I see. We are going to name this podcast Movement and Contagion. For these 3 years that you've seen me on podcasts, remember I kept repeating those words. Movement. You got to watch what they're doing. Right now, they're all lying to you. There's no one innocent. This isn't political Republicans or Democrats. This is one spin. So you've got to see movement to understand not only what they're trying to do, but where they're going. I'm an expert at that. That's why I became a rich and wealthy man. Forecasting, handicapping. What was that? Seeing the move before you see it. Seeing the move where they're going. That's my danger to them. That's 20 years from state of corruption. I don't know. Do you think we're in a state of corruption? It wasn't a single estate. It was the state of our country. And we're going to go through these pieces, but I need you to see what's happening. The movement, now the contagion. That's why they're going after Trump. He's contagious and corrupt. And I'll show you their fear. But I broke open all those paths, not only exposed the path to the DOJ and the FBI, to the IRS, to the Treasury Inspector General's office. That is the money laundering, but gave you a path. That's Maxwell, boys and girls. That's Epstein. We'll get into that more. But understand, all of what I told you is where we are. All those years. And Trump's contagious. And who are they contagious to? The Department of Justice. All right, let's hit it. Now, why this is important is, firstly, I want to thank everybody and their kind comments. I'm reading them all. And it fuels me to keep going, to know you're understanding and that I'm reaching you. I want you also to remember what I said. Listen, me being sick, no accident. Remember I told you movement? Well, how does that look? At the same time, they cut my Social Security to nothing. Movement. They threaten me? Movement. Well, guess what? I ain't moving anywhere. So I know who's doing, the DOJ's doing that. And that's okay. But remember what I said on that, what we said on that, right? I said they're going to come to Trump where it doesn't make the DOJ contagious. The insurrection. Okay? Are they not going there? I told you the principal parts of my evidence. Cullen in the DOJ, who went to the Attorney General in the Washington office of the FBI. I gave you that evidence. What did I say? The drug cartel was contagious to the Department of Justice, just like Maxwell is. I gave you the money laundering network, which is fucking Epstein and Maxwell. What was Epstein and Maxwell but money launderers? Hello? We'll get into that more. But look where we are now. The money laundering with Epstein and Maxwell, they're shutting that down and just saying predators. They're turning around with the insurrection. They're coming from there, and we'll go over those pieces. And we're going to show you that Patel goes, we just caught the Mexican cartel again with fentanyl. I told you that was bullshit. How about this? Do you remember a couple podcasts ago? I told you they were switching the Mexican cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, with the Chinese, as they bring 600,000 Chinese of military age into our country. The same Chinese that are buying up half of Maine, as Penn National went in there. We now know that Penn National was partners with, I don't know, Donald fucking Trump. Money laundering. They followed the cartels, as what I found in Penn National. Oh, and what happened? They went 2 weeks later, they busted the Mexican cartel across the country. Oh, yeah, that's right. In fucking New Hampshire, Franklin, New Hampshire, Miami. I gave you Miami with the Coast Guard. I gave you Texas with the trucking company. And I went to Arizona where they turned around, was going to smoke me. Home run. That's exactly what happened. And then what did I tell you? Mafia alive and well? Well, the mafia, they even used the same title. It's front and center with the casinos. Oh, we have NBA fixing games? We got baseball now too,
Yeah.
boys and girls. Are we missing anything? What are they charging with? Wire fraud. What did I catch? I caught the wiring network, Cantor Gaming wiring network. Who was Cantor Gaming connected to? Fucking Donald Trump again. Now, these were just our last few podcasts. I'm not reporting the fucking news. I'm not turning around giving you my opinion. I'm telling you before it happened. In some case, 20, 15 years, 10 years before it fucking happened. That's my talent. I'm not rehashing bullshit. Nino's out there saying you're going to get hit with a fucking asteroid. They're pushing a civil war now. I mean, 3 years ago when I came into this podcast world, when they made me a superhero, the whistleblower of the century, one of the most important people of our time, they were trying to flip me. They knew who I was. They knew I had the Pandora's box. That's why Trump, every time they knocked on his door, put him in jail, Pandora's box. Well, why didn't you open it? Because he was in it. Why isn't he opening the Epstein files? Oh, I don't know. Hello, he's in it. Why can you blackmail a president? That's how. That's how you don't think Israel knows what's going on? You don't think Russia knows what's going on? China? Our enemies know our weaknesses. They're lying to you. Okay, hit it, Crash. I believe we've got a Tucker coming up, right?
Yep.
Tucker Carlson. Oh, let me see what he says. Let me see if I can read it better on my piece here.
That's Joe Rogan, though. I mean, Tucker here.
Yeah, I'm referring. I played all of Tucker what he had,
Okay.
and Tucker mentioned it on Rogan. But the point is what he had to say. Okay. What he had to say is, ready? Our whole government's corrupt. He got it from a high source. Really? Tucker Carlson, I said to somebody, a very powerful person, an elected official, holds a really senior position. All these people are controlled. They've all got weird sexual lives, and all these things were hidden. They're being blackmailed by intel agencies. He said, I'm quoting, I know. Well, let's see now this. Now, who told you they were all corrupt? Now, Tucker, the piece of shit, he's right about that. He's telling you this, but look where he stops. Sexual. Well, they're being blackmailed with their fucking money, too. They're all thieves. They're all getting paid. That's the leverage that Mossad has over the Senate and the Congress. You're going to love another piece coming up, right? So you include them both. Listen, are they predators? Sure they are. They fed them the carrot. They were selected because they are corrupt. Pappas is a member, Congressman Pappas is a member of the fucking Sinaloa Anagos cartel. They wouldn't have got there if they weren't. And they're supporting Israel and so forth. Now listen, so sexual, this is the other word I want you to remember. And Crash has heard this many times. Surgical strike. Remember, if they're going to take me out or use my evidence, meaning kill me or make a deal with me, it's got to be surgical. What did I tell you the DOJ said even to my children? Can you shut up?
Yeah.
And so far, I can't. That's the moral conviction part of the story. How do you trade one life for millions? Thousands of children. The math just didn't make sense to me. All right. So he still leaves out the money. That's the surgical end of this. All controlled by intelligence. Oh, great. The CIA, FBI answers to the Department of Justice. Go ahead, Tucker. Say what runs this is the DOJ. They're saying that they got 33,000 emails and so forth with Epstein. It came from the Epstein estate. The DOJ's got 10,000 videos of these politicians and these predators with children. That came from Pam Bondi in her weak moment of stupidity. The DOJ has given you nothing. The DOJ has had this for a decade. They have told you nothing because, again, it leads to them. Now what you're seeing without the DOJ is surgical. And here it is. There's as many Republicans and as Democrats in these files. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, with Trump. It isn't politics. They're trying to spin you with, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. It's all of them. I don't know. What did Tucker just say? They're all controlled. That's all of them, boys and girls. He knows. I know he knows, okay? I'm telling you that. I know he fucking knows. As others know, but they're still not telling you. You don't think Elon Musk knows? But he's not giving you the DOJ. Instead, he gave us J.D. Vance. If Trump's out, his buddy's in. And Vance, mentor with Keel, who's in the fucking Epstein files. And you know why he's in with Epstein? He was doing financial advice from Epstein. How to launder your fucking money. That's movement, you see? And they're ahead of you. If we're playing chess, they won the game before you move a piece. Okay, so let's get through. They know. What Tucker told you, we know. And that's playing the fence. Now, talk about knowing. I did this in what? July 7th, 2020. Over 5 years ago. And what did I tell you? The path to their money. This was before the Pandora Papers. This was 5 months before General Flynn knocked on my door from the fucking Oval Office on December 18th, 2020. I was telling you the path. That's what made me dangerous. All these Flynn podcasters, when I told you they were all CIA to their face and called them all out, aren't they?
Seems like it.
But I told you, right, and I told you about Acosta. Acosta became the labor secretary. He blocked Epstein. I told you the path to the money, that Maxwell got arrested. Well, wait a minute. In New Hampshire, sitting on the Pandora's box, which was the work of over a decade of collecting that evidence, giving it to the Department of Justice to Lullen, the head prosecutor, the head law enforcement officer of all of New England, who gives it only to the Attorney General of the United States and the Washington Bureau of the FBI. And I've shared that evidence with you. So is Lullen. You know why? He's going to push that off and go, you ain't hanging me. Well, let's see if I can't hang you all. All right? But that was 5 years ago. That was telling you, and look where we are now, front and center. But they're telling you predators. Not that they're not. They're all a bunch of fucking predators. But come with predators, you think they draw the line at stealing? Hit it. Okay, but remember, we were on that path. I was on that path. I told you why they arrested Maxwell. Now, remember on that list of evidence with Lowen was the $50 million settlement. Just to shut up, and more to come. When I gave you Mafia Live and Well, the Mafia, the Sinaloa cartel, the DOJ sent married to the mob deposition where the woman said, I believe in the mob. She was married to them. They wanted me another 50 million. They wanted Penn National was going to give me 25 million just to shut up. Now, remember, the Department of Justice, Lowell and the Attorney General, has this 50 million settlement. Now, look, who's on that? Bill Shaheen. I want you to think about this. Thank you. Bill Shaheen, who's married to, guess what? Senator Shaheen, who's voting on, ready? The Epstein files to open them. Wait a minute. Her husband represented Maxwell. You see that 50 million? Who's got it? U.S. Prosecutor Lullen. Wait a minute. Who arrested Maxwell? Lullen. Lullen and Maxwell, who's taking my evidence, the 50 million settlement with Bill Shaheen. How's that not a conflict, boys and girls? Hit it, Crash. Now remember, Lullen, this is his description of evidence. He's telling you, including giving it to the Attorney General of the United States. Okay, enlarge that for me. Now, what is in that? Oh, there it is, the 50 million settlement. Right, and who tried to tell you that was bullshit? Erin Day, the Mossad, James O'Keefe from the Mossad. Who took it? Who asked for it on December 18th directly? General Flynn, remember the text message? Give me that settlement and an affidavit. They all knew. But remember, boys and girls, Bill Shaheen's on that settlement. You have Senator Shaheen on the Maxwell. You have Bill Shaheen representing Maxwell. You've got Lullen arresting Maxwell. You've got Lullen representing the 50 million. They all know, boys and girls. And from there, they sat on my children. That's when I showed you that evidence with Titka, case numbers, and that Marco Sorelli. I was to take the 50 million, another 50. Listen, I could have asked for 100, 200 million. They would have given it to me. But all of a sudden, when I gave the evidence to Flynn, that opened the door for his insurance policy, just in case the DOJ does a flip on them. And guess what, boys and girls? You're into the flip. That's all the spin shit doctors. But understand, we just incriminated the fucking Senate. That just brought the DOJ into that and corruptly. See? You want to talk movement? I'm the son of a bitch who sees ahead of them. And as far as I can see, you only got one. Now, you know what? That might sound a little boisterous. But remember who the fuck I was? The largest brokerage firm in the country, the best handicapper in the world champion. Why? Because I saw ahead of them. Listen, my father was a bus driver. My mother couldn't work because she was a handicap. What do you think I brought to the table? This. And this is where we are. Okay, hit it. So we got them set up. Now remember now, our last podcast, we told you how they were going to come. We said insurrection, right? Because they have to be surgical. They have to save the DOJ. I told you how they were going after the Sinaloa cartel, only because they make fentanyl here, boys and girls. They didn't need the Mexicans. Not when you got the Chinese moving in, who just happens to be a bigger threat. Now, I told you, right? The cartel is a path. that they can't explain Anagos. That's the little bastard on the right-hand corner there with Sununu, who would have been the beneficiary of the brokered convention and the money man. And then I told you about that's also Epstein and Maxwell with the money laundering network that I just showed you. That 50 million of the names of the people and entities that run it. The IRS is on that. The banking commissioner, the banking commission department, the Department of Revenue, all that audits. That's how they do it. Oh, I also gave you the casinos, Penn National, just like the mob did. That's what Vegas was built on, money laundering and organized crime. So what do we have on that? We have Patel turning around and telling you, look at this. We got the Mexican cartels and we've got the fentanyl production. Bullshit. But see, I gave you the doors. Patel's sticking his ass in the door, right? What did this say here? This is from inside the cartel. This is what got filled, a tractor trailer full of fentanyl, right? They're manufacturing it here. I had a plant in Boston, Massachusetts, right? Why do you think they have to make it in Mexico? It's horseshit. Mexico, Latin America was the poppy. That was cocaine. That was necessary. It's manufactured now, boys and girls. Science. And that's the Chinese. That's who moved into Maine. That's who Penn National moved into following them. After I stopped Penn National, moving into New Hampshire. That was that married to the mob. And what happened when I did? They tried to smoke me 3 times. But see, that's Patel blocking that avenue. They're not, you're going to still die of fentanyl. You notice how they're not giving you those numbers? And those numbers of death from fentanyl, they've always lied. In fact, I had the coroner of New Hampshire after I met with him. He was told he had to put down heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
After that, he resigned the next fucking day.
Wow.
This is a coroner that was on TV, on HBO. No shit. But he knew, he was told to do that. They're never telling you the truth of the deaths. Okay, but understand this. You want movement? I'm moving, they're blocking. When I tell you they were taking out the Sinaloa cartel, there it is. Only to move in the Chinese. This fentanyl is being made here, okay? So understand, Maxwell, Epstein, money laundering. That was one piece that they can't walk away from. Then I gave you the cartel with Anaga. They can't walk away from. Now, last podcast, what did I tell you? Insurrection. What happened after our podcast? We've had a busy week. Trump pardoned 77 people linked to the 2020 presidential election. No shit. Nice timing. You know, here's the movement. He knows they're going through the insurrection. And you know what? The timing. We're going broke. We're back up to now 38 trillion in the fastest move with $1 trillion ever. The GDP became negative and inflation's over 3. Listen, this is the definition of a bubble, boys and girls. And again, this is how I got rich. We're here. And you know what? Movement. And they're moving together. Move in the predator with Epstein, with Trump. Move in the economy. And what do we have? Midterms. Okay. So what is he trying to do? He's blocking the witnesses in the impeachment that's going to come from the insurrection. Well, wait a minute. 77. Hit it. That's an interesting number, 77. You know why I found that so interesting? Because it just so happens that our boy Jack Smith had 77 fucking witnesses. No shit. 77 and 77. Wow, what a coincidence. You know what that coincidence is? I did an AI thing. 77 to hit twice in a row from 0 to 100 is exactly 10,000 to 1. Remember I told you, it's by the numbers, boys and girls. He's blocking Jack Smith's witnesses. There's more. There's Flynn. Remember Fanning giving up my number? She's going to be one of the witnesses. Dominion turning around and having the Republicans buying them. Releasing Giuliani, who's on the list. Releasing Powell, it's on the list. How stupid do they think you are?
So
Well,
I have
they
a
were
question.
hold on. They were stupid enough to sell you reptilians and shapeshifters. Are you getting that now? Go ahead, Crash.
Can't forget that. Okay, now with him pardoning these people, does that mean they can't talk about anything or be tried for that if that comes up with Jack
Can't
Smith?
be prosecuted.
They can't be prosecuted.
Right.
So Jack Smith is, if he gets into court, he can't use that.
We're not going to court.
Okay.
Jack Smith's intention was to go to court.
Right.
That's why they called me on the election. I sent that text. Change of plans, boys and girls. And the irony is that brokered convention in Arizona, I saved Trump's ass.
Yeah.
They were taking him out. Sununu and Haley was in. At the same time, it saved my life. I'm telling you, I have mixed emotions. We'll get even more to that. The change of plans is the impeachment. That's the midterms. And how's things going? The economy? Oh, that's not good. Being a predator? I don't know, 15-year-old girls. But we have Megyn Kelly just saying, well, if they're 15, they're pubescent. That's not really. What?
Right. I know.
I mean, this is getting more difficult to spin.
Yeah. So Jack Smith is kind of just going to go away now.
Jack Smith and DOJ, ready? Never goes away.
I mean,
never. Meaning you have plan A and you got plan B. Plan A was brokered convention. We stuck there.
Remove Trump.
The assassination. I'm still not sure what this is. We can't trust these assholes in the assassination.
Yeah.
And that includes in Kirk. But I don't know those things for factual, and I don't have the luxury to guess. What I tell you is facts. Okay. And then he won the election because Biden was in a coma and Harris is a corrupt dumbass. So that's how he won. Change of plan, boys and girls. The minute he won, the next move was impeachment. That minute, which is why they reached out to me. I became the key witness in the impeachment.
Impeachment, yeah.
I'm the key witness. I tied Flynn in from that insurrection on December 18th and all his fucking cronies. Elvire, Boone Cutler hired him, then he winds up fucking dead. And then all these network, including Michelle fucking Moore, all these people, which is why Shelby Bush said 98% CIA, you bet your ass. And that's why I was supposed to flip. It's also why they sent me messages from my children. They wanted me to flip. Now, so in other words, as soon as that impeachment is, look where we are. We're moving exactly that. That's the insurrection piece, surgically moved.
Okay.
Sex predators, but not telling you money.
I had asked you, well, Trump was already impeached for that and acquitted. And this is what you then had.
So then the question becomes, as I asked that question indirectly, I'm trying to read it here.
Can he be impeached?
Okay.
I can't make it any bigger. Because I wanted to know if he can be impeached for that same thing again.
Right. There's the question. Could Trump, well, I asked AI was that,
can he still be
Trump
impeached?
Be impeached?
Yeah.
Even though he beat the impeachment before. And the answer is exactly. Trump can be impeached. So there's the door that's open. Where are they going? Let's watch the movement. Oh, they're moving to impeachment. So he can't be prosecuted, but he can be impeached.
Right. Okay.
And here we are. That's the insurrection. That's what they're questioning, getting Peters off. They don't want her to be a witness. The 77 pardons, they don't want them to be a witness. Many of those, like Mark Meadows, he signed an immunity deal with Jack Smith before.
Right.
So the thing here is Trump's doing the best he can, going, even if you lie, I gave you immunity. But Trump's moving to block them. You now figured out that they were Smith's witnesses. Smith turning around and you're saying Smith is asking to speak in front of Congress. He's going to turn around and give you the insurrection. That's General Flynn, by the way. You don't think he's with Powell, who gets immunity? Giuliani? Who were the assholes in the Oval Office? Powell people were reaching out to me too. Who was Carissa working with? Oh, that's right. Powell.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Who told us about that? Elvire, who was hired by Flynn and Boone Cutler. I mean, if this was a movie, you turn around and say, listen, this is too fucking obvious.
I know.
This is too obvious. You got to make it a little thrilling. All right, hit it. So there's the movement. That's where they're going. That's why they're going there. Now, in the middle of the insurrection, who stands there? Remember now, we're gonna attach the recording of the conversation I had with Staci Burk right after the meeting. Now, Burke, what did I tell? And I've told Crash this many times too. If you don't think the DOJ snatched up everybody in that meeting, Burke, Harris, Harris and Bush,
yeah.
Tuckeroni, all the assholes in that meeting, including the tape, you're insane. They're on it. Guess who Burke was working with? Who did she go to? She said she went to the J6 committee. She gave them the evidence. DOJ's got it. She's working with the DOJ. Well, let's think about this. She supported Trump by going after Flynn. But by going after Flynn, you get Trump. DOJ. That's that shithead McManus, which is why the DOJ sent me to that asshole. You don't think, oh, we like Trump, but we're getting Flynn. Flynn, let's play the game, boys and girls. Let's see the movement. Flynn gets you the insurrection. The insurrection gets you Trump. All right? So both sides seem to want all this truth suppressed from the public, while Liz Harris and Shelby worked for Sidney Powell and Mike Flynn to falsely frame and silence me back in 21. You should ask her why. All right. Now, the thing here is, what was she saying? The audit was fixed. That's what they're saying, that Maricopa County. And what did I get in that meeting? A Bush confession, a Harris confession. Exactly what they do. I didn't know Staci Burk. I heard about her till then. That was it. That's the connection. She is a witness. That's why the DOJ said, McMahon. I go, he's a piece of shit. Oh, he is a piece of shit, but he's the DOJ's piece of shit and plan, part of the insurrection. She wouldn't be a key witness. Listen, I'm the number one fucking witness. I had made that meeting. I set them up. I came from the insurrection with Flynn and his fucking cronies for 3 weeks, taking my evidence to use as leverage. That's the Pandora box that Trump was always threatening with. All right, so let's set this up. You see, this game is deeper. You believe this surface shit. You don't see what's behind it. But what's behind that? That's what you're saying there. Hit it.
I just want to say something real quick. You say this and people they take it out of context. You say, I was working with Flynn. You weren't working with Flynn. You thought Flynn wanted to get your evidence to help Trump. At that time, you didn't know who Flynn was. So
that was a very important distinction.
You aren't working and never were working with or for Flynn.
Flynn, I'm the one that buried Flynn. Ariel said it himself. Flynn is mortified at my guilt. Flynn and his people reached out from the Oval Office thinking I was going to help Trump, not knowing that he was in the Epstein files, or more importantly, Penn National Partnership. I knew the DOJ was running Biden. I knew the DOJ was running the government as it was. But what I insisted this whole time with all those emails and text messages, what did I say? And you saw that on our last podcast. Give it to the people. tell you how corrupt things were. They never did. You know why? Blackmail is only good if you don't give it to them. You seen what I did thereafter. I went to the DOJ in Boston, and who ambushed me? Audra too. Who was on her face, on her X cover? General fucking Flynn. The DOJ then released her for the recording a FBI agent threatening to put a bullet in her head if she gave me anything or talked to me. So that's a very good extension. I have one loyalty, and it's to the American people, period. You know why? That's why I'm homeless and starving. Okay? All right. So now let's go. This is interesting, right? Who comes out of the woodwork? Lynn Wood. What? Right. He sees all the immunities and is going, I'm glad I'm not here. Where was Flynn, Powell, Ketchel, the same people? Having Thanksgiving dinner over at Lynn Wood's house. Right. Planning the insurrection. When he says, I'm not part of that, I'm glad I'm not in that. He's afraid they're knocking on his fucking door. And you know what? He is guilty. That's exactly what he did. So let's think about this. Let me see if I can read that better.
Do you want me to put Lynn's up? Is that what you're reading?
Well, I've got it here. Yeah. In the days Biden won the election, Flynn set up a camp at the sprawling South Carolina estate of Lynn Wood, another supporter of Trump, to overturn the election. Wood tells recruiters that Flynn Powell arrived shortly after the election. So did Ketchel. They were working on as a technology salesman. Flynn and Ketchel stayed through Thanksgiving, where Flynn carved the turkey. You're the turkey guys. The group operating from a sitting room of Woods created something of a clearinghouse of election fraud claims. They all appeared to be working together. That's from Lynn Wood. And we had Lynn Wood record Flynn about his digital soldiers. Wood now finds out that the insurrection that happened, I don't know, we got Thanksgiving and then December 18th. So a matter of weeks, they reach out to me from the Oval Office. The insurrection was in place. Lynn Wood is responsible. That's why he's all of a sudden showing up and going, oh, not me, not me, shit. Oh, let's see. And then you know what else? Okay, let me see if I can read that. Okay, good. Wood, I had zero involvement to stop the Steele movement regarding the 2020 election. Sure you did. The whole team, a couple weeks before, was eating Thanksgiving dinner at your house. Now, why the fuck did they come out to your house? Wait a minute, you're a lawyer, right? You would review the documents. What did Powell do? Bring those insurrection lawsuit to the White House on December 18th. I learned that a number of the members showed up at the stage press conference I held at Willis Park in Alberta, Georgia in December 2020. You know, he doesn't say the day. Could it be just before? I had no idea it would be present. I came to believe the present that day was arranged by Sid Powell or people working with Sid, who just got a fucking immunity, whose people were working with me, including Carissa and I don't know. And when I say working, was reaching out to me for my evidence, and that includes Carissa. Here's the difference. They're working with them. I exposed them all. Then the identity organized to stop the Steele movement also participated in events. What a coincidence. From my own review, I believe the identity alleged supporters of President Trump were actually anti-Trump in disguise. What did I tell you? They're all in fucking disguise, right? By Flynn, by anti-Trump, Flynn would be the key witness in the insurrection. You know what? And Powell and Giuliani, who just got immunities. Ready? Trump told me to do it. Trump was involved. Bingo. That is the plan, was always the plan. Check out what appeared in events, including J6 2021 rally in Washington. While you're at it, identify, important, who organized and promoted the Maricopa County, Arizona audit. Wait a minute. You mean the confessions I got in the brokered convention meeting when they confessed to that? Fixing the audit? Wait a minute. Right. An audit which I came to believe, didn't know it then, but I believe it now. And that's a fuck you, Wood, was intentionally designed to fail in an alleged claim to discover the truth that Flynn set it up. Why? Tina Peters is that agent too, backed by, I don't know, was it Lynn Wood? No, right, Lynn Wood was sending money to her defense. Patrick Burns, who threatened to murder the judge, and Flynn.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're getting too fucking obvious. And our boy's coming out, I mean, just like the other day, putting this confession up. So let's go back to Maricopa County. Let's go back to that fucking meeting. And remember, you can listen to the recording of my conversation with Staci Burk thereafter, which Staci Burk sat on for a year. And you know why McMahon and Staci Burk kind of hit me? Because they were working with the DOJ. The DOJ hasn't made a deal with me because I haven't made a fucking deal. Well, let's see how that goes. See if I can read that here. Oh, Staci Burk, again, her own words. And you noticed in the last year how she's come out forwards with more of this stuff. I was in direct contact with Flynn, Powell, and Carissa. I'd call that a witness. Then while I was being detained and held hostage in my home under the fear and force of fraud by a security detail, Flynn's goons, which special ops, remember Elvira called them exactly that. Why isn't anybody charging them with being held hostage? I think they call that kidnapping. At no time during that period was your name brought up and mentioned. Oh, but all those people were talking to me exactly when she was with them. On the audio of Roger Stone's social media guy, Jason Sullivan, that I recorded around December 2020. Oh, you mean when I was talking with Flynn and Ketchel and the whole team? Right. You mean that time? He stated something to the effect, we have proof of those politicians who took bribe to rig the election, and all was coming out. Oh, you mean my fucking evidence? That's what they took. Trump didn't play the card because he's in the Pandora's box, but he sure the hell threatened with it. And again, thereafter, she was one of them. She went to the J6. You know what Lynn Wood's saying? Flynn's gonna fuck me. You know what she said? Flynn's gonna fuck me, which is pretty good because that's who they are and what they do. I don't believe Boone Cutler's dead, but it puts her front and center. It's why that recording. You think the DOJ missed this as a witness? Wait a minute. We're going for insurrection. All the players get immunity, but these people don't come as witnesses. Even Wood's now telling you, I believe now they were anti-Trump. That's the DOJ. Jack Smith's the DOJ. Who was suing Trump? The DOJ. Who tried to put him in the DOJ? I mean, again, by the numbers. All right, hit it. Oh, now, one of my personal favorite. Burke just put up a post. Any report by Kelsey Gabbard regarding the 2020 election fraud that does not involve speaking to me would be
Negligently.
deficient in facts. And it's right.
Right.
You've got to talk to her. And you know what? I'm the number one witness. I give you Flynn, I give you Powell, I give you the whole fucking team. I give you the CIA and all these predators in the podcast world. I put that brokered convention meeting together, not them. I set them up, right? So now I am that witness, and she's right about that. They would be deficient. Now, Michelle Moore, you haven't heard shit. In fact, you've seen her take down all those podcasts that went to that broker convention before and after, with 300,000 every podcast was watching that. While the CIA came to me, she took them all down. Remember I told you they snatched everybody up in that meeting, the DOJ? Michelle Moore points to that thing and go, hey, look at that. Well, wait a minute. If she's saying Burk, who you know through the podcast that I turned around and said Burk, they were brought up in that meeting, that Burk had that evidence, but Burk worked with them. She took all that evidence down, yet she's pointing to Burk, which would be a key witness in the insurrection. Who's she targeting? Flynn. And we're pretending that's going to help Trump. Flynn Wood saying they're anti-Trumpers because they set him up. She knows that too. That's DOJ. Guess who's controlling Michelle? How many times, Crash, did I say? She's taking instructions.
Yeah.
Not from Flynn now, although she worked for Flynn, but from the DOJ and saving her ass. That's why she's going, yeah, that's true. Then what's not true about our evidence? What about that brokered convention? We called out Staci Burk and what she had. And why she kept quiet? Because she is DOJ controlled. But you have to understand what you're seeing is Flynn and Trump and who's on what side. Listen, it's the DOJ. And now their plot, they're spinning. And they're going to put it to Trump because he is guilty. They're hitting him through the insurrection, and they're going to hit him through being a predator. And that's going to have him impeached. Listen, by the numbers, but that's Michelle Moore. That's the connection. The DOJ snatched her up. Who do you think is threatening me? Who do you think shut off my money? That's why any help I get, I appreciate it. Listen, I need one meal, one room, but that's it. And thank you to the people who are helping. You see what I get. You see the little money that I live on. But that's also the DOJ. I'm being seasoned. What can he take? That's even being sick this time. You don't think what they're capable of? So, and again, I told Crash this before. We're not in a normal world. Clearly, I'm not. And Crash, you're not either anymore. We have to understand we can't think normally. We got to think movement. Am I a problem? Yes. Break them down, money, health, and here we are. But again, you got to kill me, and I ain't moving again. If you're going to come, just shut up and come. Okay, let's hit it. Now, our favorite, this freak, Matthew Tuckeroni, who's a witness. But remember when this happened? This happened like the next day after the brokered convention. Shithead was there to the Sinaloa cartel, Mike, and the deeds and the whole thing, right? That was the bait to get me to Arizona to get smoked. Now, if I'm gone, you never know about the brokered convention. The Sinaloa cartel comes front and center. They go, hey, they killed Gil. They can't say that I didn't say it, didn't set him up, give the evidence. But there's the problem gone. But I took a right to the brokered convention. And when I did this, Tuckeroni goes this. Now think about this. He knew the plan. He was working with Flynn. Remember the pictures with him and Flynn? Remember the pictures with him and Elvira? And Elvira was setting me up the same fucking way? Oh, in Tennessee. Where was Michelle? Tennessee. Right, make a movie, right. You'd have never saw that fucking movie. How about discuss Michelle private investigator? The investigator lives in Maricopa County. Coincidence? Question mark? Listen, you asshole, you know what he's thinking? Did I get set up? Are they gonna fuck me? Not that he would mind it. I think not. She uses an investigator from Maricopa County. Mike Gill all of a sudden uses me to get to Arizona and pulls the stunt with the delegation. Oh, I used him? He was the one saying, screaming for help. He's the one Sinaloa cartel. Michelle comes up with the 5,000 the day before for me to get there. I set that up? Now think about it. If that's what I was there for, after I exposed the brokered convention, why aren't we still there for the same plan? Instead, I get a note on my door from this shithead and his friend telling me to get out, and then threatened thereafter to murder me slowly. Remember? We posted those. Mike Gill all of a sudden uses me to get to Arizona and then pulls the stunt. Brokered convention and screws over Liz Harris and Shelby. You notice how he set Harris up thereafter. You notice how he went to, by Patricia's own words. I saw him in Concord, New Hampshire. Matthew. Right. You know what's in Concord, New Hampshire? The New Hampshire Department of Justice. And I screwed him up. What were they doing? It was the confession. You can hear the tape. This shithead's got a tape. And what it was the corruption of the Arizona audit. The same one that Wood saying, I think they set that up. You know they did. Burke saying they set that up, and I told them. I gave it to the J6 committee. Think about it, as you should. Who in Maricopa is working with Michelle Moore? This had to be premeditated. You know what was premeditated? I'm not telling Michelle fucking Moore. That was premeditated. I told you before, and I'm not going to, you know what? I knew Sununu was staying in the election with Haley. Now, how's that fathead going to win? They got to get Trump out. Brokered convention. That's where it was. That's where it happened. And you know what? All of what that was, and listen, that's playing the game. That's movement. And that's getting ahead of them. Ahead of them that they're scratching their heads going, what the fuck happened? We went to kill his ass and he blew it up. And then all of a sudden Trump, which is not the smartest asshole, by the way, never was, turns around and goes, hey, I think they were trying to set me up in Arizona. That's Flynn going, the jig fucking up. I don't know who Gil's working with, but the jig's up and they've got tapes. The DOJ's going, give me those fucking tapes. Send that shithead to Concord, right? We can't kill him now. Because all of a sudden they posted this. And who was posting it? Oh, Michelle Moore, who took him down. All of a sudden she's going, hey, Staci Burk, look at this. That's the DOJ, folks. And if you don't think they got a hold of this guy, listen, you're going to have to slap him to shut his ass up. That's who he was. In fact, all these threats about murdering me, that was the intent. He made the threats thereafter, because at that point he couldn't. Oh. And my favorite spin doctor, who is connected to Arizona, connected to Harris. Remember, this is the guy that says, hey, these are the politicians in Arizona tied to the Sinaloa cartel from the deeds. They blocked the deeds. You didn't get them from that shithead. You got them from the, oh, I know, the DOJ, right? All of a sudden, he's against Flynn. Wait a minute. If you get Flynn, you get Trump. That's the game the Mahan's playing. That's the game they're playing on you. See? So wait a minute. Donald Trump gave the world an entire list of traitors. Oh, those 77 names, they're traitors. Right. Who were pardoned for crimes they committed by pretending to fight on behalf of this country. Wow, that's right. Now, why would Trump give them pardons to traitors? There's the spin. There's the DOJ. They conspired against him. Wait a minute. Those were all his allies. How did they conspire against him? Remember? They were all his friends. Peters, Giuliani, Powell, Flynn. They were never friends. They were the DOJ. So this Swami, who pretends to be, I don't know who the fuck, and he won't tell you, now they're saying he conspired against them, which is true. Did under the table deals and sold in our country. This insurrection divided a nation. You weren't given a fair choice. You can't elect them out, you arrest them out. And you have to do that first by exposing them. Second, you've got to take out what protects them. That's the DOJ. That's the way out. Or unless you think J.D. Vance, who's the mentor of Keel. Well, wait a minute. Keel's working with Epstein and laundering his money. Right. Bad idea. And now they're being welcomed back if they're not domestic terrorists walking among us draped in patriot gear. As he is. But there's the DOJ. You wonder what? There's Michelle Moore with the flip. There's Ariel with the flip.
And
right?
Michelle hasn't said hardly. I have to look at her page. I don't really ever go, but
Nothing.
she hasn't said anything for a year.
I do look. She blocked it all out. That's why when she put this out, I was on it. And that's the mistake. Listen, none of them are that smart, but they are that treacherous. They are that devious. And remember, it's that simple. How many people go after Flynn? MG show, we're going to go after Flynn, knowing that Flynn gets Trump.
Yeah.
Right? And who pushes that? Who wants Trump? I don't know, the DOJ. Why does the DOJ want Trump? Because Trump's contagious to them. Save themselves. That's this world. Save themselves. You could save 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people. Oh, no, I'll save myself. Trump will get your ass in a war to save his own ass. Right? So, in other words, that's the plan. So the DOJ, they need to take out Trump with the insurrection. Why? Because he is guilty. How are they going to use it? By the plot that they put together with Trump. Now they've got to use that insurrection plot. Epstein, they knew Epstein was in the files. Remember, the DOJ has always had the evidence. They've given you nothing. They're afraid the money laundering lives to them, which is why I'm a fucking problem giving them the evidence on camera. It went to the Attorney General that Bill Shaheen is on that settlement, on that evidence, and wife is Senator Shaheen. And Senator Hassan works under Bill Shaheen. You got two Democratic senators. Okay, listen, I'll go back to Tucker. They were all corrupt, sexual deviants, and money laundering. And the wealth they stole, Pelosi's leaving with what? Hundreds of millions? What do they pay these assholes? And what's the secret to them is? Hide the money. What did I do? Found the money, the trillions they stole from you. We get you trillions back. Guess what? There is no inflation. Your dollar's strong. The interest you're paying on the money is more than you spend on the military. You're endangering this country by thieves and crooks. When did these assholes like Tucker or Elon Musk, with all this insight, not understand that the money that they stole is what endangers this country? Should they be taxing you more? 78 cents of your dollar, tax dollar, goes to interest only. You don't think China knows that? Russia knows that? Our enemies know that? We're turning around and fighting Israel's wars because we are being blackmailed. How about America, period? How about we turn around and take our money back? How about there's no lobbyists in Washington? Keep the pharmaceutical, the healthcare. They're just as bad. And you know who they buy protection from? Department of Justice. You take out these cartels. Child traffickers. Who are they paying? Those same senators and congressmen. There are no lobbyists. Your position is the welfare of the American people, period. Keep these foreign countries the fuck out of here. Why are you in the Ukraine? Why are we dealing with Israel? Because of blackmail and extortion. You don't think Epstein was from the Mossad? And listen, Alex Jones spinning this way and this way. He was taking money from Shillman, which is the Mossad, just as O'Keefe was, and just as Laura Loomer turned around and admitted, oh, Dr. Shillman paid me very well. That's the Mossad shitheads. They only have a statue with Shillman in there. And AIPAC, we got Cruz turning around saying, our first primary is to save Israel, protect Israel. Shut the fuck up. How about the American people? They're the ones hurting. This is, and the worst is yet to come. There is a bubble coming. What did Trump come out with? A 50-year mortgage?
Yeah.
That means you pay 3 cents to the principal. You'll die never owning a home. They didn't lower rates. In fact, all these rate cuts, rates went up. They ain't go down. You know why? Risk. You know what that risk is? That 38 trillion. We just moved a trillion, the fastest time in history. That's how Trump's doing. The big, beautiful bill. Let's save all the oligarchs, the billionaires. It's money with the corrupt that buys election. Who do they pay? The DOJ. Who does the DOJ send on us? Who'd they send to me? The CIA? The Mossad? Listen, I've got to deal with the cartels. I mean, who did I call out as our enemies? All these podcasters, you don't believe they're CIA now? Jaco and Nino. Nino's got you chasing asteroids. In fact, there's a thing on video now on YouTube that's calling for a civil war. That's what they want.
Is it Nino? Is Nino doing that?
Yes. And what was Flynn doing? Making millions, driving a fucking school bus around, telling you to go to war with the minister of
Retribution.
Raiklan.
Yeah.
Then you got Jones turning around and saying, "Hey, Woody Harrelson said something on Joe Rogan about the assassination of Trump." Do we remember Raiklan was on Jones' show and what Alex Jones said? It would be great if they assassinated Trump. You people have to have better memories. They keep spinning shit and you keep forgetting shit. That's when I keep going back to reptilians and shapeshifters. I mean, Ariel's doing the werewolf fucking deal again, right? The dogman.
Yeah, I saw the dog man was on his page again.
It's called, that's MK Ultra. That's mind control. That's them knowing if you believe that shit, they can sell you this shit. They're saying it's a little test. How stupid are they?
Right.
Do you remember when I came in from the podcast world, didn't know about it 3 years ago? Remember what I've said constantly? You know what made me fear? I saw who they were instantly and ratted them all out. And Michelle was ratting me out, ratting them out. What scared me was that you were believing this bullshit. JFK Jr. Pascal is the reincarnation of John F. K. Jr. I mean, they only called for my death. That's what scared me. Your condition scares me still. That's why I'm also thankful for those comments that have me believe you're starting to get it. And you better get it sooner than later. But I'm not telling you there's not a path. There is. If there's not a path, right, then DOJ wouldn't be afraid. You wouldn't be hearing about these pardons. You wouldn't be hearing about Epstein and Maxwell. That's the contagion. We've got to make this contagion spread. That's why when Tucker stops with the money, it's bullshit. Stops with the DOJ, it's bullshit. So don't tell us this, but you don't tell us the whole fucking story. This way here, if they take you halfway and they get to that way, they go, they're fucking heroes. They're building platforms. It's always about getting rich. Listen, this is somebody who was fucking rich and famous and now losing his fucking teeth in a hole. Understand? That's what the truth looks like. That's what this is. To subscribe on Twitter account and crashes. Follow this podcast and share it. I mean, the more people, now listen, who watches them, who watches me closely every moment is them. So as I'm talking to the few of you, I'm talking to the millions of them, the thousands of them, the DOJ. That's why those podcasts I was getting with Michelle after the broker convention and before, 300,000 plus, that was them, by the way. There's a lot of them. But we can win. The path is there, money. We can bring us all back. We can change all this. This is the moment in time in history of our country when you expose all this and the good people of this country. We're not racist by nature. Most people are caring people, are good people. You're paying the bills. We are the masses. Once you see this and wake up to the truth, and it's not pretend, make America great again. When were we great? We had prejudice for years. We had organized crime for years and corrupt politicians. We can be great now. We can take on the institution of this corruption. We could turn around and get this country back for our children and their children. Who do you think is going to be paying the $38 trillion? The fucking tariffs were all a lie. They were double dipping. As inflation was hitting, they were double dipping, stealing more money. Trump was giving it to the billionaires. That's why horse racing and all these billionaires buying horses, 100% tax deductible. What? People are starving and we're helping out the billionaires. Okay, crush.
Okay.
But I hope you people understand what I'm saying here. Look back at state of corruption. What was I telling you? Who's ever banged on the doors of the FBI, the DOJ, put them on cameras? Who's ever put the faces of these politicians and these judges and the cartel heads on signs across highways? You got somebody else? Let me know.
Well, I have to say something about that real quick.
Okay.
People hear what you're saying because I get comments, and a lot of people, you're an example, which we've already said it before in other shows. You're an example to other whistleblowers that they'll take everything. So a lot of them are scared, or not just whistleblowers, but people are scared to even protest now because of J6, because they have it in our heads that we're going to all go to, get arrested for trying to be patriotic. But people have asked, how can we, and all I can tell them is we have to band together. We have to get behind what you say, and we have to, I say protest, if that's the case, we have to get people to hear what you're saying, and
Get
more
rid of
people.
Congress. Back what we're doing. I go to Congress, I blow all this shit up.
Right.
We have a path. And you want to talk about being afraid? You're absolutely right. Do you know what the weapon of the corrupt is? Fear.
Fear. Yeah.
As long as you're afraid, we lose. Listen, I've been in not a million, a few hundred fights. You don't go in afraid. Every time in a fight, I would sense the fear into the other person. I knew at that time I won. The minute you stop being afraid, we can win. You said stand up together. That is exactly correct. Well, that is their fear. That was their fear of me. I led a charge and looked back and I was alone. But I can't keep going alone. You know the truth now. You stand up to the fear. Did they use me as an example of someone rich and powerful and getting wiped out? Yeah, damn straight. And you let it happen. You let them put me here. You made me an example for them. But I'm giving you an example back. I accept my consequences. I didn't turn around. I put my money up and spent my millions and fight. You know why? Because people were more important than money. And if you haven't figured that out, we're fucked. Right? So in other words, that example they've given you of me to others, let's turn around and say, let's use an example of me still fighting, us fighting together. Let's show them that we're not afraid. I am telling you, every time I have dealt with a coward, they broke. They're the cowards. If they use fear, they're cowards. If they sent an army. When you send an army, you don't send one, it's your cowards. The nature of the beast is predators and stealing. These aren't people that will stand together. See this as an egg. The protection is in the shell. We crack that shell, there it goes. They will turn on each other in a New York second. This will work. I am telling you it will work. Listen, every time in business that I became so successful is because I saw it from front to back. I saw the troubles. I saw what would work, what wouldn't work. So I saw the failure before the failure happened. I am telling you, I entered this war. Now listen, I believed the cartel was going to snuff me. And putting those recordings of the inspector general and those sealed envelopes to lull him saved my life. Because they don't want me to be a martyr. Whether you know this or not, I'm going to be a famous motherfucker
Yeah.
the minute I'm dead.
Right.
Okay? So, in other words, I've done that. You'll understand that. Why do you think those state of corruption YouTube videos don't go down? When they take everybody down when they sneeze, because they're fucking evidence. And if this show rolls back, they go, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. We're in that fight. And I sense their fear. And I'm telling you, they're cowards. Let's stand up together. I just couldn't beat them alone. Right now, it's me and Crash. And her DMs don't work, her emails don't work. And who the fuck knows what I have to deal with each day with my phone. But we're still here. We're still fighting. Use us as an example of standing up and saying, hey, we can win. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of your courage. Are you going to be able to stand up? And listen, it's not going to get much better, worse than where we're going. Think about this. Bubble crashes, the housing market, 50-year mortgages. And what's the effect of AI on your jobs? I'm in the mortgage business, right? How do we know that the AI doesn't turn around and say, okay, you make this much money, you're buying this house. Oh, there it is. You see? How much of that? You know, they turn around and bring in 600,000 Chinamen, but they're taking out your laborers who pick your tomatoes and your fruit. Who's going to pick the fruit tomorrow? You. They just opened up jobs. They just destroyed the middle class because the middle class was what they were afraid of. The middle class is what fought these wars, not Donald Trump, not any of those people. You fought the wars. They're afraid of that middle class. Maybe you have, and now that you have less to lose, but that power of the wealthy and the oligarchs, the 99% of the world's wealth with a few people is what you were more with. You, starvation and being able to detract. And as you said, fear. They're going to take fear from you being in a weakened position, which is, again, why we have to stand together. I'm telling you from somebody who's done this and sacrificed, it's possible. It's why I stayed in the fight. If it wasn't possible, I'd have taken their money. I'd have just disappeared thinking, hey, listen, I'd give up my life if we had a chance. I'm telling you, after all those years where it was couldn't be done then, but it had to be carried over. All those videos that you see knocking on doors with the FBI and the money laundering and calling these cartels wasn't for then, was for now. For you to understand, if I told you the DOJ was corrupt and the FBI, you wouldn't believe me. Believe me now. When you look at these presidents in high regard, what if I told you all these presidents have been compromised? All the presidents been compromised. You think Sununu comes from the Bush family? You don't think Clinton's in the Epstein files? Bush? I mean, we've been led by the corrupt. The Department of Justice has institutionalized our government. Blackmail and extortion has been the rule of the day. We can make America great now, where it hasn't been. You'll find out if nobody's broke, then maybe we have health care. Maybe the people who, and then we turn around and audit, you don't go stealing anything. We don't accept corruption. Maybe we can help you get a job. Maybe we can really help you rather than have cartels own treatment centers. Maybe we give them real help. You see, we could move in the right direction. You won't have inflation. You'll see prices drop. You'll be afford to buy a house. The middle class will own a home better than you thought, with rates of 1-2%, with no inflation. That's what controls that. That's what brings prices down. It's all right there. We just got to all stand up.
Yep.
Did you have any more
Nope.
questions?
No. No.
Okay, trash. I'll talk to you.
Okay.